All right. Welcome, one and all, to the Off the Rails Sports Podcast. I am your host, John. And if you could kindly hit that like and subscribe button. Seems like I got a moth in here. Wow. Everybody wants to come in for the great sports content. How you doing? Uh, and if you could, leave some comments. Tell us what you think. I did the NBA podcast over on the other side. First initial reactions are Cooper Flag, number one choice, obviously unanimous. Everybody wants to put him in the Hall of Fame. I harken back a couple of years ago when Zion Williamson was in the same boat. He was going to be better than Charles Barkley. He was transformative. Not quite. Not quite. Just saying. I'm not saying that that's what Cooper Flag is, but for everybody who thinks he's going to be the next Larry Bird, you know what? Maybe you ought to just hold down just a little. A lot of things can happen on the way to the prom, okay? On the way to the Hall of Fame. That's just what I say. All right, let's talk about what happened elsewhere in the world of sports. The biggest item to me was the NHL and the NHLPA are negotiating a 42-game season up from 82. And two more games of content, profit in their pockets. Seems like a lot of the lower teams in terms of revenue, the Columbuses, the Minnesotas, wanted more shots at having the Bostons or the bigger teams, Floridas, roll into their town. And that was being restricted by divisional lineups and things like that. It's going to get done, uh, because everybody wants more money. That's really what it is. The Players Association, ever since Donald Ferris left, is fickle and weak. They're gonna kiss the ring on this one. The owners are gonna get more content. Two more games for every team. That's a lot of content. Hey, just another week in the season. Personally, I think the season starts at the end of October. I think they ought to move it to the end of November, and basically have the entire month of June and part of July for the conference finals and the Stanley Cup finals with no competition. Forget the NBA. Quit competing against the NBA. You're not going to win. You got to get eyeballs. What are you competing against baseball? Please. Bowling competes against baseball. Jesus Christ, right? Just saying. Hello? Hello? All right. Let's go over to what happened in Major League Baseball, and we're going to get to it a little bit later with Brian about the Red Sox getting swept in Anaheim. But let's start at the top here. The White Sox beat the Diamondbacks 7-3. Burt gets your win. He's 4-7. The Brewers beat the Pirates, because who doesn't beat the goddamn Pirates? Mizorowski, that phenomenon coming up from the minor leagues, is now 3-0 with a 1.13 ERA. And I do gamble a little, not a whole bunch, but if there's a long shot there. There's a guy at 20-1 to win the Cy Young. That might be somebody to keep your eye on. I mean, that guy is real. That guy, he's still young, though. He's not going to pitch a lot of innings, so that would be the caveat. Angels took down the Red Sox for a sweep of the series, 5-2. Colucci got the win. He's 3-6 with a 2.7 ERA. I've actually watched most of his starts this year. The guy's just had some bad luck in terms of getting wins, but he has been really, really good. Red Sox started out with a 2-0 lead in the first inning, and then, it all went sideways after that. I will say this. I was watching the Angel game, the first game of the series, and boy, all they could talk about is everybody in the Red Sox clubhouse was saying Devers was a problem. That's what they always say after you leave. You know what I know the guy is? He's one of the leaders in RBIs, hitting percentage, and OBP. Yeah. Who do we got now doing that? Good luck. Padres beat the Nationals 1-0. Pivetta got the win. God dang, that cat's 8-2. Wow, look at Pivetta. He's the exact opposite of Colucci. I mean, Colucci's pitched lights out. He just hasn't got a lot of wins. Rangers beat the Orioles 7-0, and Jacob deGrom gets your win. He's 9-2 with a 2.0 ERA, and every time Texas gets close to 500, they lose 3 out of 4. So right now they're only one game away. They're 40-41 at the midway point. We are at the midway point, and I guess we're gonna just see. Athletics played the Tigers and they won 3-0. Lopez got your win. Blue Jays lost to the Guardians 5-4. Enright got the win for the Guardians, 2.0 ERA. You know, we got some guys who are just starting to make their mark in the middle of the season, and they kind of are going under the radar. Mets beat the Braves 7-3. Braves 37-42. Halfway point. Now what are we doing? What are we doing? Yankees beat the Reds 7-1. Fried got the win. He's 10-2 with a 1.9 ERA. There is the only threat to Skewball to win the American League Cy Young. Twins beat the Mariners 2-0. Ryan got your win. Rays beat the Royals 3-0. And I got to tell you, the Rays are playing really good. If I asked you right now, what do you think the Rays record is? They're 45-35. Like lights out. They are playing some good baseball. Cubs 47-33. They got the win against the Cardinals 8-0. Boyd was your winner. He's 7-3 for the year. The Astros beat the Phillies 2-0. And the Dodgers beat the Rockies 8-1 because hell yeah, everybody's got to beat the Rockies. Yamamoto finally got back on the hill. 7-6 with a 2.6 ERA. Yeah. Marlins beat the Giants 8-5, and Faucher got the win, and I have no clue who the hell that is. All right, if you could, hit that like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon on Off the Rails Sports Podcast.